Hello and welcome to another episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, and I hope you are doing amazing wherever you are and that you are ready for a insightful and just eye-opening episode today. Because today we're going to talk about something that I find came up a lot in my own journey with healing emotional eating, actually in general, just as a part of my personality. And today we're going to talk about scarcity, the scarcity abundance mindset. And for so many of us, especially those of us who may struggle with emotional eating, struggle with uh, weight loss, body image, all that, a lot of us struggle with a scarcity mindset and might not even know it because we often associate the word scarcity with money. When we think of scarcity, we think of money, we think of resources, we think of tangible items that can be scarce. But scarcity is also a feeling, it's also a belief system. And it's a feeling that can trigger us to go into fight or flight mode and take actions that can undermine or even sabotage our true goals. And this isn't really our fault because the scarcity mindset is so deeply rooted in a certain ideology, and it's often passed down generationally. And actually, it's even normalized as being responsible. So it's really important that we take a different view and we're willing to look under the hood, so to speak, of this idea of scarcity and take the time to cultivate self awareness, take the time to cultivate compassion, and take the necessary healing action steps to rewire our brain around this mindset. And I want to discuss what is the root of a scarcity mindset. So, once we understand and internalize that when we talk about scarcity, we're not just talking about tangible items or money, that we're actually talking about a belief system. We can dig deeper into the root cause. And at the core, the root cause of a scarcity mindset is a deep sense. Usually it could be conscious, but usually it's grown within you and has some unconscious and subconscious tentacles. But at the core, it's a sense that we can't trust. And when we feel like we can't trust, and when you think of trust, trust is an exhale, trust is an opening. Trust is the ability to be in flow. It's the ability to adapt, be malleable. But the core of a scarcity mindset is a lack of that, a lack of those skills, a lack of moving through life in that way. And it really is this feeling that we can't trust, and we need to take preventative and protective measures to secure our safety. And that we constantly have to be, our antennas have to be up for that. And with emotional eating, why there is a scarcity mindset, a scarcity mindset aspect in emotional eating is because for people who emotionally eat, food often provides safety. So if you think about it and you're listening today and you resonate as an emotional eater, I want you to think about when you feel yourself emotionally eating, what are you looking to feel? Oftentimes, it's a sense of grounding, a sense of safety, a sense of calm, a sense of relaxing the chaos. And this is something that really, really triggers emotional eating. And so when we think about examples of the scarcity mindset in emotional eating, what are some of those things? And so I'm going to give you 3 examples of where a scarcity mindset can show up as an emotional eater. And the first one is pre-eating before events or social gatherings, even when you're not hungry. And so here also, what are you looking to feel? You're looking to feel safe. You're looking to feel a sense of safety that you're going to go to a social gathering and you're not going to be put in a position to feel unsafe. And so you pre-eat in order to make sure that you don't, I don't know, right? So this is where you fill in the blank, right? You're not hungry. You're going out for a hike, or you're going out for a walk, or you're going to a social situation. You know you're probably going to go to lunch in a couple hours, or maybe you don't even know when. You wake up in the morning, you're not that hungry, but you eat anyway just in case. Okay? That's a scarcity mindset. That's saying I don't trust in what's going to unfold in the day, and I'm scared of something happening. Okay, so that's one example. The second example is taking more food than you need and eating it all because you're worried there won't be any left. Okay, so that's going to a buffet and feeling like you need to make sure that you're not left without something that you might want. Worried that there's not going to be enough for you. And the third example is the clean plate club. So that's feeling like you have to finish everything on your plate. That's feeling like if there's leftovers, you should eat them. If your child leaves something on their plate, you eat it, because we can't throw things away. And this is where, again, we normalize the responsibility part, because we think that we're being responsible by not letting things go to waste. And this is a whole other conversation I have with a lot of my students about that concept, using your own self as the waste basket because you don't want to waste things. And that's a real mindset shift to think about it that way. And ultimately, all of these behaviors that I just explained, or that I just detailed, pre-eating before events, taking more food than you need, almost like hoarding food, the clean plate club, ultimately, all of these behaviors stem from a feeling of lack or perceived upcoming lack. And the irony of it is that a lot of these behaviors are the reasons why you have unwanted weight gain, or or you're struggling with feeling out of control around food. It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because of this mindset, this scarcity mindset. And it's also why we think we need more rules, like macro counting, or someone telling us how to eat and what to eat and when to eat, and more structure to heal emotional eating and lose weight. But if you notice, being attracted to that type of hypervigilance, that rule, feeling like we need more, we need more bars, we need more walls, is a direct reflection of the scarcity mindset. It's still saying, I don't trust in my own sense of knowing myself. I don't trust that I know myself. I don't trust what's around me. I don't trust knowing how to regulate without some sort of external force telling me the regulations, right? It's a sense of fear, and that feeling that you need to be hyper vigilant and protect yourself Like I said, it's because you can't trust yourself or the world around you. But here's the thing, for most of you listening, I want you to know that there's always going to be the next meal. So these are some ways that I want you to start to reframe. Okay, these are some things that if you want to write them down, you can write them down, but here's the real truth. For most of you listening to this podcast, probably all of you listening to this podcast, there's always going to be the next meal. There's always going to be another opportunity to eat what you want. There will always be more. And when you zoom out of that scarcity mindset and you realize that you don't need to take preventative measures, you don't need to overprotect, you don't need to self-regulate with external regulations, and you can just trust. This is when you can truly heal. And this is what it means to adapt an abundance mindset. So to shift from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset is to plug into that universal truth that there's always more, and that you don't need to do these behaviors that are rooted in scarcity, right? You don't need to hoard food. You don't need to be a human garbage can. You don't need to fear getting hungry. You don't need to do any of that stuff. And so before we end this episode, and this is definitely going to be a little shorter episode, but I want to leave you with this reflection exercise. Who would you be if you let go of the scarcity mindset? Who would you be if you really let yourself believe that there was enough in the world? How would that impact your eating habits? How would that impact your relationship to yourself? What emotions come up for you even thinking about that? How does that impact your identity? And I really invite you to write these down, keep reflecting on them. And as you do that, you will keep leading yourself towards permanent healing. And on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining me again today for another episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. And you can join me again next week with another new episode about emotional eating so you can fall in love with eating, start losing weight, and keep it off with sustainable strategies and lasting change. If you found this episode insightful, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with those who may benefit from this empowering knowledge, insights. I also have lots of free resources on my website to support you on your journey to loving food and losing weight. Just go to www.bewellbyak.com. And until next time, I'm Alana, and thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.